Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about anger. And I know everyone has seen someone that is just so angry that they do really stupid stuff, right? The prisons are full of people who did stupid things when they were angry. That is an emotion that they were not able to control. And then things spiraled out of control. And then they did the unthinkable. And then they ended up in prison, right? Just because they didn't know how to control their anger. And we all get angry about different things. I mean, something that maybe makes me angry may not make someone else angry. And recently I had to myself think about this. My brother was in the hospital and his blood pressure was extremely elevated. And I wasn't even at the facility. I had been there earlier in the day. And my sister-in-law, was concerned. And she says, well, the blood pressure is like 200 and something over, something. And I said, okay, well, that's too high. So what are they doing about it? So then she told me what they were doing about it. And I said, well, they shouldn't, they should do more. They shouldn't do that. Why give them a pill? I had all this stuff going on in my head because, I'm a nurse practitioner myself. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done that. I mean, I would have given him something else. And so I, I left where I was, headed to the hospital, and I was really ready to give them a piece of my mind. I really was. And, but when I was in the car on the way, I just started praying and I said, okay, Lord, let the situation be resolved. Let me not go up here and have to, get out of character, which that is not my nature anyway. But I was saying, let it just handle it, Lord, handle it. So when I did get to the hospital, it was handled because even though I thought that what the nurse practitioner on staff chose to do for him would not work, it actually did work. And so it worked to a point, and then they gave him additional medication later. But I'm thinking, they're going to mess around and he's going to have a stroke and all this stuff. We'll see. We allow things instead of just rationally thinking. So what I should have done was said, okay, well, he is in the hands of professionals, and perhaps they know what they're doing. And in that instance, it worked. But if I had gone up there and demanding, I want to see the nurse, I want to see the nurse practitioner, all this crazy stuff, then things could have escalated and got ugly, and then I could have gotten thrown out of the hospital. But I'm just saying, just to give an example of how sometimes things start out kind of small, maybe, and then we get to thinking, then our emotions get the better of us, and then before we know it, something ugly has happened, or something really, I mean, even the murders that go forth sometimes, even accidental deaths. I mean, a significant other can say something to you that upsets you so bad until you get angry, and then you haul off and you hit the person, or you shoot the person, or you do whatever, but you did it in the heat of the moment because you were angry and you could not control your emotions. Sometimes it is best to just walk away. If you walk away, then perhaps no one will get hurt. And even in learning about cognitive behavioral therapy, which is definitely one of my favorite things, that is one of the things that's even taught. Even in that, is also taught in the faith-based counseling that I do. It's about anger and what we can do about anger. Now, anger is basically, it is an emotion, and you're irritated and you're agitated at the time because you couldn't get what you wanted. That is basically a definition of what anger is. I didn't get what I wanted. And so anybody that's around me, they're going to pay because I didn't get what I wanted. But come on now, that's not the way to be. I mean, you have to learn to like reel this back in, reel that emotion back in so that people don't end up hurt. Okay. And you have people that are, they're just angry people. I mean, there have been relationships where people were, the wife suffered abuse just because this person was angry and just felt like they had to take it out on somebody. Something can go wrong at the job that day. And what do? You bring it home, and then you act out on the children, and you act out on the wife. And these are the dog, but these are innocent beings. But it's because you don't know how to manage your anger. There are specific anger management businesses out there. Sometimes a person has to be court mandated to go to anger management, right? I mean, that's a thing, because they didn't know how to handle their anger. So now they're going to have to go, and they're going to have to sit in a class, and they're going to have to get a certificate to prove, yes, I went to anger management. And it would be one of those situations where they're given a book, there's going to be an instructor, and then you're going to go over the things regarding anger and why did you become angry. They may eventually maybe get to the bottom of it. It's like what happened in their past, to get them to this point where they're just angry about everything. Now, people that are like really angry, I don't like being around people that are just angry and hateful and mean. I don't, it's my choice. I cannot be around people like that. I don't like that. But if you came to me as a provider and you came to me as a client, then it's a different thing. It's like, okay, you've decided that this anger thing is really not working for you, right? Okay, so there are things that we can do to help you. Anybody who teaches anger management. But just personally, I mean, if I have a choice to be around somebody who's angry and someone who's not, then I would rather be around someone in my personal life, is what I'm saying. I would rather be around someone who is not angry. When you're angry, your thinking is not rational. It's not, because the things that you normally would do when you're not angry, then you may do when you're angry, but those things are usually not good, right? Take Will Smith, for example. Now, Chris Rock is up on the stage and he's talking, and yes, he's making jokes, and Will Smith could not control his anger that he had. Instead of him waiting until the show was over and saying, well, man, I thought that joke you did about my wife, I didn't think that was real cool. And so then they could have really discussed it as adults. And then who knows, Chris Rock could have been in another setting and said, I did the joke about Jada, and Will was not happy about that, and hey, we talked it out, and I'm sorry, Jada. I'm going to be a little bit more careful about the jokes that I make, because it's not my intent to hurt anybody's feelings. Well, it didn't work out like that, did it? Well, it didn't, because one of the two of them could not control their anger. And so to do that, honestly, I mean, it's showing rage, at that moment. So I'm just letting you all know that, and that's just a typical example. There are examples that are, of course, they're far worse than that. But the fact of the matter is why be so angry? What is it about the situation that is just making you to the point where you're just boiling over? Learning how to just decide, okay, this is what's going on right now. If you step back and take a minute and then just assess the situation, then you may choose to handle it in a different manner, than hitting people or hurting people in other ways. The thing about anger is such a strong emotion that who's on the other side of that, they can end up hurt, and it's not fair to that person. And then if you make the choice to hurt the other person, then it's not fair to you either, because when you hurt them, you're going to jail. Okay? So let me just say, anger is just one of those things that we talk about if you come to see me. So come see me. Let's talk it out. Better Days Faith-Based Counseling. Have a blessed day.